I have this great recipe. Make bread without ever having to knead it. Only 4 ingredients: flour, water, yeast, and salt. Now when you have the flour, you want 3 cups, and you should always weigh your flour because a cup of flour will vary. And it's 120 grams per cup or 4.23 ounces. So you get yourself a kitchen scale, and 3 cups is about 12.7 ounces. Put your flour in there. Now you have 1.5 cups of water, and it's warm water. So you want it around 90 to 100 degrees. If you put it too hot, it's going to destroy your yeast. So 100 degrees, and half teaspoon of yeast and 1 teaspoon of salt. We mix those together. All right, so I'm just letting my yeast and my salt dissolve in here real good. Looks pretty nice. And I use bread flour, but you can use all-purpose flour. The bread flour has a bit more protein. I like it. I think it comes out just a little bit nicer, but you don't have to use it. And then we just mix it all up. Mix it up, and we're going to cover it with plastic once it's fully mixed, and we're going to keep it in a warm place. You want a place that's, if you can, between 75 and 78 degrees. Might not be able to, but that'll help keep it rise. And you want it to rise between 8 and 24 hours. So we're going to cover this with plastic, let it rise, and tomorrow we'll show you how to bake it. Good morning. So this bread has been sitting in a warm place, tightly covered with plastic wrap overnight, and you'll see it has risen quite a bit. So now what we're going to do is take this out and put it on the floured surface. We're going to make it into a ball. You'll see it sticks to the side a little bit. We'll work that through, and woo, look at that. We'll put this into a ball. This is going to sit here for half an hour. And at that time, we're going to heat the pot. You want a nice deep bread pot. We're going to heat that in the oven so that when we throw this bread in, it's nice and warm. We'll be back in a few. Okay, it's been a half hour. The oven has preheated the bread baking dish for half an hour, 450 degrees. So now we're going to take this dough off this baking mat. Oh, by the way, Joe loves this baking mat. He says it keeps his counter way cleaner. And it also has some cool things on it. It has, if you were making a pie, it has the graduations there. It has substitutions. It's got all kinds of cool things. So we're going to just take this bread up. Yeah, I'm supposed to be doing this carefully, but it's really hard to do carefully because bread dough is a little mushy. We're going to place it in the container, and then we're going to tent the aluminum foil on top of it. We're going to bake it for half an hour, and then we're going to take the aluminum foil off and brown it the last 15 minutes. So let me tent this on here, and this pan is super hot because it was just obviously in the oven. So be very careful when you're doing this so you don't burn your hands. And let me put this in the oven, and then I'm going to do the second one, which is a bonus for you. So I'm going to do something that they do in Buffalo, where they make a bread, they call it Kummelwick. They make rolls and breads and stuff like this. Well, I'm making my own version of it. So when this goes in, I am going to put coarse salt on top. Spread it around. And a whole bunch of caraway seeds. And when this bakes, it's going to be super duper yummy. So let me wash my hands and come right back. And you may have noticed that the other pan looked a little dark. Well, I have put cooking spray in it. You'll want to do that before you put your dough in your pan. And again, you put your cover on, and we're going to bake it for 30 minutes with the cover on. And then we'll come back and take the cover off. Well, there's the beep. You know what that means. It's time to take the cover off. Sometimes it sticks a little bit, but that's the only way we're going to get it to brown. Look at that. Woohoo! And now, let's look at the other one. Now we're going to put it in for another 15 minutes. And we'll be back in 15 minutes and we'll show you how lovely it is. Okay, sounds like it's done. Let's look and see if it's nicely browned. Okay, there we go. Nicely browned. This is the Kummelwick one. And this is the ordinary one. Now we're going to let that sit for about 15 minutes. And then we'll pop it out and let it cool on this surface. If you try to cool it in the pan for too long, it's going to get mushy. So you want to have that nice crispy outside and soft, yummy inside. So we'll let this cool for 15 minutes and then we'll pop it out. Okay, it's been 15 minutes, still hot, but not as hot as it was before. So we pop that out and let it go cool on there. And we'll slide that one out. And we are done. We'll cut it later with an electric knife. You'll see how much easier it is with an electric knife when you do it yourself. Have a great day. Happy baking.